Professor and fellow classmates. For my second quest of week 2, I decided to go with quest number 4, press play. And I decided to choose author Sean Akers' podcast, TED Talk, The Happiness Advantage. Now, I decided to go with this particular podcast or TED Talk because week 2 was all about happiness. It was about happiness, positive thinking, positive psychology, and it's been a fun week. I've absolutely enjoyed the readings, and this was the podcast that stood out the most to me during the week. So I decided to just come on and choose this one and speak on a couple of points. First and foremost, Mr. Aker was amazing. I love his presentation of the podcast. My first time hearing of him as an author and watching his TED Talker podcast, and he's very comical. I love how he incorporates that into what he's doing. You could just exude, the happiness just exudes from him. And if you're speaking about happiness, you're giving TED Talks and podcasts, and you're an author. Who speaks about happiness, it kind of helps if you're happy yourself, right? So just him being happy and him being comical, I loved it. Now, the first thing, his first story was a story. He opened up his podcast, speaking about a story with his sister. It's that brother and sister dynamic, that family dynamic, and that hits home with me. One thing that you'll learn about me over these 4 weeks, if you don't learn anything else, is the importance of family. So him, kicking his podcast off with family, absolutely amazing. A beautiful story about his brother, brother and sister, when they were younger. So I love that. Absolutely love that. So that really stood out to me and really captured my attention. But moving on, the bigger point, the bigger issue that was highlighted throughout his podcast, if you will, was changing the lenses. Change the lenses of how you view things, and you can change your outcome. That is very, very key to me. That hits home to me as well. That is a powerful message, no matter what situation, not just happiness or psychology or whatever, but in any situation you find yourself in, you can change how you see things, and it can change the outcome. And that was very key in this week's readings about optimism and all that. Optimism was huge. It played a huge part in this week's readings, a huge lesson. And how you optimistically see things definitely changes the outcomes of things. If you go in seeing things pessimistically, you're gonna more than likely end up in a bad situation. It's gonna be a bad outcome. But just changing the lenses of how you view things, absolutely amazing. Like, even for me personally, it hits home because I got to change the lens of how I approach my studies. I'm not 18, 19, or 20 years old. I'm 37 years old, have businesses, have families. So going back to school is a challenge for me, but I had to change the lens. I can do this, and, I will do this, and, I'm capable of doing the assignments. I'm capable of creating time to do the assignments. So, from the outside looking in, it looks a lot more difficult. But when you change that perspective, change the lens, I'm loving, the classes that I'm doing, putting forth my best effort, and it's all working out for me. So that was absolutely huge for me, and that kind of continued. That was the pretty much the bread and butter of his entire presentation, if you will. He went on to continue to say 90% of your happiness is based off of how your brain processes the outside world. So it's not even about, the world that you live in. Now, let's be honest, some of us are just not born into the same playing field. Some of us are born in, different neighborhoods, broken families, if you will, and it's difficult to come out of that. However, how your brain processes all that, can really change the outcome. So even if you are born in difficult situations, or even going back to me, being older and pursuing a new degree, it's all about how I view things and how I process things. It's not about how I allow those things to shape and mold me, but it's how I, flip it and I process myself. So I love that, right? And then another key point that he made was change the formula for happiness and success, change the way we can affect reality. So yeah, changing the formula for happiness and success. That's big. What we see success as, what we see happiness as. Being happy can really change things. It really does. It really does. And he hammered that point home. And I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. The fact that he mentioned that, how huge happiness is and how it can change our reality. Again, going back, no matter what situation we find ourselves in, if we choose to be happy, it can really really change the outcome or change what we want out of that situation or whatever. Getting out of that situation. 75% of job successes are predicated by optimism levels, social support, abilities to see stress as a challenge instead of stress. That was huge for me as well because you would think, it's all based on, your degree, your IQ and all that. No, but 75, that's only 25% of it. 75%, the bulk of it is based on, pretty much your happiness and your outside influences, things that we pointed out in the other few points. So that was major to me as well. And a happier brain leads to more success. Not more success leads to happiness. This was huge because we have it twisted. I believe as a society, we think that, success leads to happiness. No, it's the other way around. A happier brain leads to more success. When you're happy, you put forth a better product. When you're happy, you don't burn out as easy, or as fast. When you're happy, you're not as stressed. So that's something that I really want to hammer home with me, in school, in business, in life, and family, and everything. Being happy, and in return, I think it'll I'll be a better me, right? And work will be better, school work will be better, my relationships will be better, everything will be better. So I love that point, and that probably was the biggest point for me. And being happy in the present moment increases productivity. That goes on to, piggyback on the last statement, being happy now, it makes everything better, a better me, a better product, which, better me, which relates to and ends with a better product. So, yeah, I absolutely love this TED Talk, love this presentation, and it's all about happiness. That's what this week was all about, and I'm super pumped about this week, week two. It was amazing and, took a lot with me, carry over to these next 2 weeks and throughout the rest of the classes. So thank you guys for week two.